The light fades with death's cold embrace. You've already been zipped and tagged. Struggle as you might, it will not help. No one can break out of the body bag. Here to oversee the autopsy, your hosts, Chris Thomas and Broke Rider Dave.
What's good, everybody, and welcome to Body Bag Podcast. I'm Chris Thomas, and with me, as always, Broke Rider Dave.
How we doing, everybody?
So, Dave, are you ready to insert a little bit of positivity back into this podcast? Since last time, I believe I was bitching and moaning about endings.
Absolutely. Ready to give a positive top 10 of my favorite body horror movies.
Which I gave you, which I'm a big fan of body horror. I kind of wish that I was given it because I like a good amount of body horror. I can think of 10 just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm actually struggling with the one that you're giving me, which was the remakes. Because I'm looking through a bunch of them, and I realized, I guess I don't really watch a lot of remakes.
Well,
or the remakes that I have seen aren't really that bad.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised on which movies actually are remakes from like an older movie.
But I might have to do an adjustment on that one and do top 5 and least favorite and top 5 favorite.
Yeah.
I might have to just split it up a little bit. But that is for another time. This is your top 10 body horror. Did it take you a while to make this list?
It did. And if anyone disagrees that any of these movies aren't a body horror movie, I checked them all against lists of body horror movies on Wikipedia, so... You
don't need to defend yourself. I said that I had Sweeney Todd and Passengers in my last one. You don't need to justify it to anybody.
I'm just saying, if anyone gets upset, don't get upset with me. Get upset with Wikipedia.
All right, so is this in any particular order? Because I know last time you went down top 10 and then it went all the way to your number 1.
Yes, that's the way we are going to be doing it. Start from 10, make my way down to 1.
All right. And I have a good amount in my mind. Let's see if... I'll let you do your 10, and then I'll ask if you've seen a couple of the ones that I have in mind.
All right, sounds good. Starting the list off at number 10, probably the first one that comes to a lot of people's mind when it comes to body horror, The Human Centipede, directed by Tom Six.
Cinematic masterpiece.
I feel like it's one of those films that if you're a horror fan, you should probably watch it at least once.
Well, that whole movie has turned into kind of like it's like you have to see it just for the shock value and just it's become one of those things where if you're a horror movie fan, it's been seen by so many people that you have to be like, all right, I need to see what
it's about. Yeah,
I need to see what the whole fuss is about.
Yeah, it gives ass to mouth a whole new meaning.
So are you talking strictly the first one, or are you talking about the entire franchise?
Just the first one. I haven't seen any of the other ones in the franchise.
Once you see the second one, you'll realize that the first one is actually pretty tame.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check it out.
That's a movie that I've been meaning to put on our list of movies to watch.
Yeah.
It's just one of those that you look and you're like, that is such a horrible situation to be in.
One of the worst situations I ever get caught in.
And I guess for those of you who have not seen Human Centipede and are wondering what it's about, picture in your mind what it would mean to have 3 people into a human centipede, and it's exactly what you think it is.
Yeah, super gross, but it's definitely one that you're gonna have to check out.
Okay, getting it started off. I don't think anybody will disagree with that one. That one should make the list.
All right, number 9, Idle Hands, the 1999 horror comedy.
I love that movie.
It could have been taken in a whole different direction to make it really serious, but they made it so good at being like a comedy.
That's not something that I would think of when I think of body horror. But you said you Wikipedia'd it, so
yeah.
Body limbs are getting chopped off.
Exactly. Yeah, has Seth Green, Jessica Alba in it.
That movie is so 90s. Although it probably came out in the early 2000s, but it feels 90s.
It came out in 1999.
Well, then that's exactly why I wasn't sure. It hit that sweet period of, is it 90s or thousands?
Such a 90s movie, yeah.
A lot of 2000 to 2005 movies still felt like the 90s. It was still kind of brushing off that feeling.
And I feel like it's one of the earliest horror comedies I can remember watching.
That might have to be one that when we start picking the movies again, that we might have to review.
Yeah, because I haven't seen it in
Years.
exactly, but definitely is a good one. I mean, Seth Green was a bottle to the head.
Yeah, he got a bottle to the head. Yeah,
just kind of stuck there.
And his other friend got his head chopped off.
Yeah.
But the main character is basically running around with the devil possessing his hand.
His hand, yeah.
It's exactly as ridiculous as it sounds, but I love that movie.
Such a good movie. Number 8, you're gonna really love this movie.
I better.
Because it's your favorite movie.
Oh, The Thing's on there.
Yeah. A movie I didn't like, but now that I've watched it more recently, I'm starting to come around to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
that's The Thing is one of 2 movies that immediately come to mind when I think of a body horror movie. I'm not going to say what the other one is because I'm sure it'll probably be on the list. But yeah, The Thing, that is the reason. That's the example that I give of why I like practical effects and prosthetics over CG, just because
the practical effects in this movie are great.
Yeah, it's just something that you can actually feel like is actually there in front of you and not computer generated. I wouldn't think of like somebody's head gets detached and then sprouts legs and turns into a walking head spider.
Yeah, that's a great scene. And I really enjoy the story of like paranoia, not knowing who's infected, who's not.
And one of the reasons why, it's one of the reasons, but not the reason why people really like John Carpenter.
Yeah.
So, like everything from the score down to the visuals, but yeah, good pick.
I think John Carpenter's probably the best director with scores. I feel like you find that in all his movies. It's a great score.
I think you'll be hard pressed to find somebody who would disagree with you on that.
Yeah. We are now on to number 7, and that will be The Green Inferno.
Green Inferno. I've heard of it. I don't know if I've seen it. I don't think I have.
Directed by Eli Roth.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I do like Eli Roth.
Yeah. Group of activists taking a trip to the Amazon rainforest, end up in a plane crash, and make contact with a native tribe of cannibals.
Yeah, I when you were explaining it, I was like, all right, when did they run into the cannibals?
Yeah, and it's just messed up. Like, there's one person they don't even eat. They just mess them up and then tie them to a tree and let the ants start eating them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Was this a relatively new movie? I
think it's actually a remake, and it came out in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like Eli Roth's work. I might have to check that one out. I'd heard of it, but I'd never seen it.
Yeah, it was one of those movies you definitely are gonna have to watch, especially if you like body horror. I think you'll really enjoy this one.
Yeah, and we can have a discussion at the end of this about body horror in general.
Yeah, but it's just the guys getting eaten by ants while two people are escaping, and he looks at him and he just asks for them to kill him. He's like, "Please kill me."
Oh, it's that bad?
Yeah, I mean, getting eaten by ants, super painful, and it has a pretty good ending, I'd say.
All right, I'm gonna see if I'm up late tonight. You know, something to watch right before bed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say the ending, but it's pretty good. Number 5. I didn't realize
going through this list pretty quick.
Yeah, I didn't realize this one was even a body horror movie. When I saw it was, I was like, definitely has to be on my list. Oh no, it's number 6, not 5. My bad.
Either way.
Event Horizon.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, especially if you look up some of the stills and some of the pictures of the things that ended up on the cutting room floor didn't make, because they had a lot more scenes of them in the hell dimension and these people getting tortured.
Yeah, I think the story is Paramount was it Paramount rushed the film because Titanic got delayed?
Is that what it was?
I think so. Yeah, that's how it got kind of rushed.
I guess for those who haven't seen it, I guess the way I would describe it is think just Hellraiser in space.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Just a hellish torture dimension in outer space.
I mean, you got a guy holding his eye, speaking Latin. That's one of those things that kind of stick out with me. He's just sitting there holding his eye.
And have you actually looked up and checked out some of the extras that didn't make it into the movie?
I haven't, but I heard, like you were saying, they're pretty
intense.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that.
You know, I'm looking right now. I just typed in Green Inferno, and the very first thing that popped up was ants. Green Inferno 2015 fed to ants.
Yeah.
Save that for later. But Event Horizon. Good. Yeah, good movie. See, so a lot of these body horror stuff is, I guess when I think of body horror, I think of a completely different sect of body horror. I completely forget about like the torture stuff. And I'll explain why when we get down to it, because I want to mention a few, like I said, but I don't want to bring them up if they are on the list. Not just yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the pictures of the extras from Event Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, man.
You think they should have kept them in? Well, I think so, because from what I looked at, it looked like a lot of work went into all of that.
Yeah.
Into all of that stuff. It's a shame that you wouldn't use it, because you got to figure that took a lot of time to design that stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, what was Event Horizon's actual like rating? Was it PG-13 or
no? It had to be. It has to be rated R, I would think, because even at the end, just the way that Sam Neill looked at the very end, I think would have probably alone given it a R rating.
Yeah, it's rated R.
Yeah, I would have been shocked if it wasn't rated R.
Yeah, I mean, extras, I don't think it would have bumped it up to like NC-17 or anything like that.
I guess not. That said it came out in what, 1997?
97 or somewhere between 97. Yep, 97.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it would have, because if you already have a R rating, I don't understand why you wouldn't put that stuff in there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm sure there's a story behind there. I'll have to look up.
Number 5. We just mentioned Hellraiser in space, so why not talk about the actual Hellraiser?
Hellraiser on Earth.
1987 classic, man.
Another one that, the earlier ones, making good use of those prosthetics. I mean, it does have CG in it, but the actual grotesque stuff is all prosthetics and all practical effects, which are really cool. Yeah,
visually for being a movie from 1987, looks great.
That's one of those movies where I don't really necessarily care about the plot. I watched each movie because I want to go, all right, what new Cenobite is going to be introduced this time?
Yeah, the Cenobites are great. I mean, the storyline's pretty decent too. I mean,
the storyline, let's be honest, I mean, it's okay, but you're here to see Pinhead and you're here to see the Cenobites.
Exactly,
and I actually just saw I don't know if it was the very last one to come out, and I was just recently introduced to the Auditor.
Which one was that?
I think that might have been the very last one to come out. Just type in Hellraiser Auditor, A-U, like you're auditing a class. Auditor. He basically, when he kidnaps people, he ties them down to a chair, and then he has a typewriter, and he makes them verbally account for all of their awful deeds that they've done in their life, and he's typing it all down. And
so I've seen like the first 2, so
if you type it in on YouTube, you'll see the scene. He's actually a pretty cool character.
Well, I'm seeing a picture of him now
all scarred up and everything.
Yeah, looks like a pretty cool character.
I'd say watch that YouTube clip and check it out.
I mean, for me, Pinhead's always going to be my favorite.
Yeah. I guess I have to agree. I'm sitting here looking at my Hellraiser poster, looking at Pinhead right now. So
yeah. I know they're rebooting it. Did that already come out?
Are they really?
Yeah. I don't know if it came out yet or if it's coming out this year.
We were just talking about Chris hates. Can you hear the sigh in my voice when you said that? I'm like, another remake? All right. Is it a remake or a reboot, or is it like a sequel?
I think it's a reboot.
Of course it is.
Yeah. It's gonna be on Hulu though.
You know what? We'll talk about that in the upcoming hashtag Chris hates remakes.
Be interesting to see female Pinhead. See how Jamie Clayton does as it.
Oh, is that what they're doing now? They're doing a woman Pinhead. I mean, is she going to be Pinhead, or is it like is that what the studio basically said? We want to do another Hellraiser movie, but make Pinhead a woman this time.
Well, it's not that. It's like in the books, Pinhead's kind of like.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing or anything. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or anything. I'm just saying, because I haven't seen the trailer, I don't know anything about it, but I got no problem with gender swapping stuff unless the only reason you're doing it is for.
No, I think she's gonna be Pinhead, so it's not like they're gonna change the character too much. They're just gonna be a different actor underneath the prosthetics.
Gimmick, that's the word I was looking for. Like, if you're gender swapping a character, I don't necessarily mind unless the only reason you're doing it is that it's a gimmick, kind of like when they remade Ghostbusters with
all the women,
all female cast, and I'm like, all right, well, inherently I don't have a problem with that, but a lot of the marketing around that was like, all right, we have a all female Ghostbusters cast. Other than that, why? Like, did you give them a good personality or anything, or are you just selling it based on the fact that it's an all-female cast now? Because I need more than that if you're gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, that's why I was asking about Pinhead. I was like, all right, so is it just it's Hellraiser, but now Pinhead's a woman?
Yeah, I mean, Pinhead, the character is kind of like genderless as it is, so I think the character's
really because I thought in the sequels it showed that he was an actual guy, and we see him in his human form.
Well, I'm talking from like the books.
Oh well, I haven't read the books, so So for all I know,
from,
it might be completely accurate. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's from the books where it came from. Kind of
All
like a genderless being. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, if
yes.
that's the case, then by all means, go ahead and do it. And then, kind of like when Dr. Sleep came out, and I heard Dr. Sleep, they're making a sequel to The Shining, and I groaned, and then somebody had to say, oh no, like Stephen King actually wrote it. I was like, oh, okay. I thought you were just doing it because you wanted, you know what I mean, to get money. But I mean, if it's to the source material, then by all means, do it.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what happens. I'm gonna check it out when it comes out. All it's just telling me is sometime this year on Hulu. So
I wonder if anybody's gonna listen to this and immediately take away from what I just said, just automatically go, oh man, Chris hates it when women being I'm like, it's like, no, it's not the case.
Just when they use it as a gimmick and not, as...
And that's it. When they... Yeah. I mean, I can go on a whole tangent about that, but that is not what this is about. This is about you talking about body horror.
So let's move on to number 4, and that is going to be The Faculty.
When you were talking about Idle Hands, I was immediately thinking, that movie feels very 90s, and it just reminded me of The Faculty.
Yeah. When it comes to movies, I'm very 90s. I loved all the horror movies in the 90s.
I'm a child of the 90s, so of course I'm going to...
I feel like we had that 7-year sweet spot of just great horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of them. I mean, it's basically The Breakfast Club with an alien invasion.
I mean, I mentioned earlier in a past episode that I think it was 81 to 91 was my favorite thing for horror movies, but, that's hard for me to even say just because there's so many 90s movies that I love too. I mean, it honestly just depends on the day. I mean, because now I'm just, give me all the 90s.
Yeah, I'm very big on movies from 95 to 02, 03.
Mm-hmm.
That was right in my window when I was getting into horror, so.
The era of when Final Destination started up. And...
Final Destination, Scream.
Yeah.
Halloween 20 Years Later, H2O, Faculty, Valentine, Urban Legends, another great one.
Blair Witch.
Yeah, that was my first found footage. But we are getting a little off course.
As we often do.
If
people are listening and they're movie geeks and everything like that, I think they can understand, when you get to talking about movies, you'll end up getting to a spot where you don't even remember the original movie you're talking about.
Exactly.
The Faculty. Awesome alien movie.
If we ever did my favorite top 10 90s movie, I don't think I'd be able to make a top 10. Might be top 50.
Well, I think I know what your next top 10 is going to be.
Yeah, so Faculty, Breakfast Club with an alien invasion going on. They literally have every group. You got the jock, preppy girl, the artsy girl, the burnout loser, and the new girl.
Yes, like you said, basically the Breakfast Club, but with aliens now in it.
And somehow the drugs that the burnout makes actually dries out and kills parasite aliens.
Very positive pro-drug message of this movie.
Evidently, yeah. Make some drugs in case alien invasion, guys.
And The Faculty has one of my favorite awful censor jobs that they did.
I think we've talked about this before.
Yes, it's Jon Stewart's character. Jon Stewart from The Daily Show's in it.
Yeah.
And he gets his finger bitten by one of the little alien creatures, and he yells out. In the regular version, he yells out, "Oh, fuck." But in the edited for TV version, he yells out, "Oh, phooey." And I remember seeing that for the first time, and I rewound it at least 2 or 3 times, and I was laughing my ass off.
I don't think I've ever seen the TV version, but...
Well, I think it aired on Sci-Fi at one... Sci-Fi channel at one point.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, phooey. Jon Stewart is pretty good in this movie for his limited role.
No, I just want to go on a 90s binge now.
Right? I mean, but this next movie, number 3. We are gonna go to the 80s, 1981 to be exact.
I think I might know what it is. Go ahead.
Directed by Sam Raimi.
Nope.
Starring Bruce Campbell.
Yep.
Evil Dead.
Yeah. Especially the last 15 minutes of that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie is notable for a lot of things, from the over-the-top body horror, especially near the end, to the molesting tree near the middle.
Yeah.
I remember my friend showed me that back in the days when PSP was new, and he showed it to me. He had the Evil Dead on his PSP, and I'd never seen it before, and he showed it to me, and I was looking at it, and I was off doing something, and I was just kind of watching, and then I came back when that tree scene came, and I was like, my dude.
That tree is
I was like, I mean, I ain't reading into this, right? But this tree just sexually assaulted this woman, right? I mean, I'm not being a pervert, right? I did just see what I think I saw, right? And when the Evil Dead remake came out, I was sitting there the entire time going, all right, how are they going to handle that scene? How are they going to recreate this a tree sexually assaulting a woman, and just saying that out loud, a tree sexually assaulting a woman, just immediately just conjures up images to me of like the trees from Wizard of Oz, like harassing Dorothy, and just like a person in a tree suit.
Yeah.
But man, the last 10 minutes of that movie, I swear,
are great. And then Evil Dead 2 is also great.
Never seen it.
Really?
Yeah, the second and third, and Army of Darkness, the ones that everybody really loves, haven't seen it.
See, I had Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness on VHS. Mm-hmm. That shows how long ago it was when I first saw it.
I know a lot of the memorable quotes, but I have not seen it, and I know that that's a horrible thing because I know it's a really popular series of movies.
Just gonna have to binge watch it one day. Just all 3 of them. I mean, Army of Darkness is but still enjoyable.
I'll be the judge of that, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, Evil Dead, one of my favorite tropes. Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, I was about to say, is that your number 2?
No. It's just one. I just enjoy a lot of horror movies that happen to take place in Cabin in the Woods.
My favorite horror comedy is Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and that's in the woods. That's making fun of the Cabin in the Woods trope. I mean, Cabin in the Woods, the movie, is making fun of the Cabin in the Woods trope.
Yeah. So, I mean...
It's just that feeling of isolation, and, like, you can't really go anywhere.
Yeah, you have nowhere to go for help. You're relying on yourself at this point. Plus, I mean, I can't remember. It was Evil Dead 2 where he cuts his arm off and replaces with a chainsaw. So that's the first one.
That's well, you're asking the person who hasn't seen the Army of Darkness or Evil Dead 2. So
that probably didn't happen in the first one if you don't remember it.
I mean, are you talking about the first Evil Dead movie? No, he was very much had both arms by the end of the movie.
Yeah, so that's the second one. That's another great scene. But yeah, definitely watch Evil Dead 2. It is definitely worth it. And now on to number 2. We're gonna go to 1979.
Okay.
I mean, this movie's just a classic. We've actually discussed it before on the show. Alien.
One
of the most memorable body horror scenes.
Yep, that was our tag episode.
Yeah.
Classic, yeah. Made notable all more for the fact that they didn't tell anybody that the chest burster scene was going to happen.
So it's all natural reactions at that point.
And just the idea of a face hugger is just so awful because it looks a lot like a spider, like an alien spider, and just the fact that it just attaches to your face and then just impregnates you by attaching itself to your face is just because
such a terrible way to go.
The idea of in my mind I'm just like the idea of a giant tarantula just like attaching itself to your face and is like the face huggers scare me more than the actual xenomorph, to be honest.
Well, dealing with the face huggers, I mean, that's just a terrible way.
Those things are smaller. They can they jettison out to you. They like again just a giant alien tarantula.
And I'm like very weird about having like stuff on my face. Like I usually try to avoid costumes with masks. I just don't like having anything on my face. So
especially an alien spider.
Yeah, so dealing with the face hugger would be just probably the worst way for me to go. Not to mention also, alien baby's gonna burst open your chest.
There's that too.
Yeah. Also, just corpse mutilation at that point.
And that is your number 2?
That is my number 2.
I'd like to guess your number 1, if that's okay.
Go for it.
I mean, this one has to be like the granddaddy go-to of body horror movies. Is it The Fly?
No, I've never seen The Fly.
Oh my god, that is like that was when I was saying The Thing and The Fly are the 2 movies that I go to when I think of body horror. All right, well, if it's not
like I've been meaning to watch Fly, I just haven't got around to it.
Mm-hmm. That one is a gradual, like you see the body horror over the course of the second and third act, and it's again just moi to the practical effects.
Yeah, like 2 body horror movies that I really want to watch that I haven't seen. That's why they're not on the list, is The Fly and Tusk. I
thought Tusk was going to be my next one. That I was going to ask if that was going to be your number 1.
No, I haven't seen either one of those movies, so...
Well, I guess I've seen a lot more body horror than you, because I just have all of these in my mind. All right, I'll go over a couple, but I'm anxious to hear what your number 1 is.
All right, this movie came out in 2002.
2002.
Directed by Eli Roth.
I was about to say, is it Hostel?
No.
Oh.
Hostel, I think, came out in 04.
Cabin Fever?
Yes.
Yeah, I knew Eli Roth was probably going to had to be at least on the list twice.
Yeah.
I would have thought Hostel would have been on there, but Cabin Fever is a good choice too, because that one's definitely more body horror-ish in terms of like your just body is deteriorating.
Yeah, it makes you cringe when you watch it, when you're seeing all skin come off.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I was 11 when this film came out.
Mhm.
I got it on DVD.
Mhm.
I would watch it at least maybe once or twice a week.
And the disease was from the water, wasn't it? Wasn't it like poisoned? Well, not poisoned, but it was like infected water.
Yeah.
Well, water. I think it was from the bad well or something.
Yeah, and then also they had the guy that came up to him, but just covered in blood, blood everywhere.
But if I'm not mistaken, I think it was because like there was some dead stuff in the water.
Yeah, there's something dead in the water. That's what led to it, I guess.
And that one, like you think and you watch it and you're like, that one's not too like far-fetched of an idea of happening.
Yeah, it could really happen.
Especially now in the days of coronavirus. People like extra careful about the stuff that they touch and ingest in their body.
Yeah, the way like, when the first girl, they see that she has it, immediately throw her into like the barn.
Yeah, and at the very end, at the very end, wasn't she still like just somewhat clinging onto life, and then they like bashed her head in with the shovel?
Yeah.
Was she still alive when that happened? Well, I would imagine she would have had to been. Why else would you bash her head in with a shovel?
Yeah, she was like barely alive at that point. Talk about an awful way to go.
Was that his girlfriend or his sister or something?
I think it was his girlfriend. Yeah.
Oof, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
Hell of a way to end a relationship.
Yeah. I mean, she was in that barn for like a day and a half, just slowly dying, and then they're just like, okay, we're gonna kill you now.
Yeah, Eli Roth, makes some body horror.
Yeah, he pushes the envelope with it to really get you cringed. Just some of the shots he makes in almost all of his movies.
So, if I may, can I list off a few just to see if you have seen them before?
Yeah.
Some that would have probably made my list if I was making the list. Tusk would have been on there.
All
right. Saw would have definitely been on there.
I honestly forgot about Saw.
Saw would have been probably up near. It would have been one of my top 3. Hostel, which I saw Hostel before I saw Cabin Fever. The only one I haven't seen is the third one. And Reanimator.
Reanimator, that's a good one.
You seen Reanimator?
I have.
I've seen the first couple Reanimators.
Yeah, I saw the first one.
Hellraiser would have definitely made it for me. The remake of Freak Show.
I haven't seen the remake.
I don't think a lot of people have. That was one of those movies when I was in high school, and back when Blockbuster was around, and I was just perusing like a whatever movie for just whatever, and I just happened to see the cover, and I looked. The ending, I haven't seen the original, but the remake. The remake movie is, I was thinking about it actually of whether or not to put that for my Chris Hates remakes, but because it's somewhat forgettable all the way up until except for the last 5 to 10 minutes, because the last 5 to 10 minutes has one of the most gruesome torture and body mutilations that I'd ever seen.
Yeah,
the woman in it was painted to be a horrible person, but man, I don't know if I should explain what happens or if you're gonna go see it at some point, but what they do to her is woo.
You want to hear something funny? Saw actually isn't on a list of body horror movies on Wikipedia.
Why? That's all that people do in that is mutilate themselves.
I don't know. I was just looking for it.
How is Idle Hands on there but not Saw?
I don't know.
How is Faculty on there but not Saw?
Right, all right.
Slither. Oh, the other one I would have put on there would be Slither.
Slither was kind of almost on the list.
That one's a fun movie too. That wasn't Eli Roth, was it? Who was that?
That was James Gunn.
James Gunn.
Yeah. Slither and The Ruins were on the list. But then I took them off to put on Hellraiser and Evil Dead.
I would have put in Planet Terror.
Ooh, that's a good one. I didn't even think about.
That one was a pretty good one, and I feel like I am possibly forgetting one or two specific ones. It doesn't have a lot of it, but near the very end, the movie with Willem Dafoe in it called Antichrist.
Have you mentioned? I think
I've mentioned that before because that was going to be one of the movies that I had.
We were going to watch before.
Those are just a couple, and I think Rest Stop. Rest Stop, yeah. Guy gets real cut up and tortured in that one.
Okay.
So I guess before we end this out, I guess I just want to ask, because when I think body horror, I don't necessarily think torture. I think, like I said, The Fly or something that happened, like Cabin Fever is something I think more of rather than torture. It's like somebody's body slowly morphing or deteriorating or falling apart or something like that, but not through torture, but through either whether it be science or disease or something like that. That I completely forgot until you started doing the list. I was like, oh yeah, I guess torture was definitely a body horror kind of thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that torture and stuff like that, they call it torture porn, is kind of like a cop out in terms of a horror movie. Ooh, Ooh, I know a really good one if you haven't seen it. Clown.
Clown.
A guy dresses up as a clown for his son's birthday, and he can't get any of it off, and he slowly starts morphing. Like he has the red nose and everything like that, and it turns into an actual red nose, and he tries to. It becomes part of his body.
Heard about that. Yeah.
That one's actually pretty good. I'd say watch that one. That one's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
And cop out in terms of people say that it's a cop out. It's like, oh, it's just being gross and stuff like that. I'm like, well, it has its place.
Yeah. Some people enjoy it.
I think the reason I like body horror is seeing part of it is me going, all right, could I handle that? Like, what is the amount of pain that what is my threshold that I'd be like, I think I can handle that up to the point where it's like, all right, at this point, just kill me, because I couldn't live with this. Like Human Centipede, like
nope. As soon as I begin, like, shoot me down.
At the very end, because when you find out what it takes to become a human centipede, they remove your tongue, they slit the things in your knees so you can never walk, and the ending of that movie where it's just the middle section is the only one alive and in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was like, that is just a horrible way to just go.
Yeah. Would not want to deal with that at all.
But that was a solid list. I'd say I had about at least 5 of them that I would have been like, yeah, that's a good one. A couple that I wouldn't have thought of. But in the meantime, thank you to everyone, as always, for listening. We always value your input, value your listenership.
You guys have a great evening.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to Body Bag Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave us a comment as to what you'd like to hear us review, or any horror movie topics you'd like to hear us rant and rave about.
And while you're at it, you can find us on Twitter at BodyBagPod and on Instagram at BodyBagPodcast.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time.